Another unadvertised bonus stream. This one is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be bouncing around between a few games, starting with Chasm. The reason being is because I'm going to break down what is a Metroidvania, my views on what makes a good one, and tips that RTFX Studios may be able to take into their next project, which is going to be a short Metroidvania. This game may not be the best Metroidvania. It may not be a quintessential Metroidvania, but it does a lot of things right with the extras that it has. Speaking of which, going into just game here, strobe effects, amazing. The options to change between Xbox and PlayStation, like, just the little details. You can change the art style, essentially adding different filters. It's got a lot of really good things about it. It's got multiple different modes. As you can see, I already did this one. Easy hardcore was for an achievement that I did. Now, you'll see where it says seed. This is a randomly generated game. What that means is every time you play, the rooms will be in a different configuration and the items will be in a different configuration, and depending on the way you do it, it will alter things, right? What this do? I don't know. What did you do? Now, this is totally different than wait, how many? 3, 6, 7, 8. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8. Actually, no. Let's do all zeros. So this will be seed 0. Let's do hard. I don't want mortal, because that's permanent game over. Class, change your starting stats and how you level up. No. Skip intro on. Okay. So, I'm gonna give it just another moment for Studio to join. How are you doing, Thief? I wanted to do like an hour or so stream. Just to help Studio out with breaking down what a Metroidvania is, giving her some tips and some information she may not have on the genre and design style, the design philosophies, and, you know, just really distracting everyone from the real world for a little bit. You're having fall weather? Bruh, it's been like 80 degrees here. Today's gonna be a high of like 76 plus rain. I don't know what's going on. We haven't had fall yet. We had like 2 fall days, and the rest has been essentially a light summer. We're in November and we're still hitting 80s. How crazy is that? They had enough time to join. It's the hairspray damage from the 80s. I don't know if it's true, but from what I saw, it looked like the ozone's on the repair. But that just means that it's trapping in more heat. So if anything, we might need to bring back more hairspray. Okay. So, let me turn on the controller. Okay. At the top of the screen, you can see my controller inputs, right? So you could play with the joystick, you could play with the D-pad. I feel that's incredibly important, right? So, the number one most important thing with Metroidvanias, and all games, no matter what the game is, control. Intent with your control. So you have the original Castlevania that has, like, dedicated jumps. Like, in that, if you jump and you press, you're gonna continue the arc. With a game like this, which is why I really wanted to start off with it, this has really crisp controls. Like, you could see when I press the input. Small press, small jump. Long press, big jump. You can adjust in the air. No, but it is like a, it is a, what would you call it? Not necessarily a period piece, but, it takes place in, like, a mining town. None of the other buttons do anything yet. We loop back around. As you play through this, you'll unlock the different rooms here, which will gain you access to, like, more characters and treasures. Not the point. This is the point. So, a Metroidvania compared to a one-screen platformer, which you know what a one-screen platformer is, and a normal platformer or a side-scroller, is that you have maps, right? You can backtrack, you can revisit. So right here's a good example. I can't get through here because of these rocks. On the opposite side is the plunger with the dynamite. So this tells me that there's another path where I can come through that hole in the wall to press the plunger to create a shortcut to continue to the next area, or the previous area in that situation. Essentially, pretty much, yeah. Here's another good example. I can't make it through this gap, but there's a pressure plate. So that means that I would need an ability to hold this down, an item to hold it down, or an ability to move fast enough from this plate at full extension to, like, sprint through or fly through. Or something that can pull that lever on the wall. This is really good information for the player, because now I know that I can do those things. I just attacked that lamp at random and it broke, giving me an item drop. I'll go into the inventory, there's nothing there, so that leads me to believe, as the player, that I can do that to replenish with maybe the hearts or the blue. So, essentially with a Metroidvania, you want to travel through a map to unlock pathways and shortcuts compared to a side-scroller like Mario or things like that. Now, that's not saying, like, you need combat for Metroidvania, because the Mickey Mouse platformer that came out not too long ago is made without combat. There's 0 combat in that game. Another thing, because I would say the difference between a side-scrolling platformer and a one-screen platformer and a Metroidvania, another one, like, the key thing, it's not just the map, but it's what the map represents, which is progression. So you have continual progression through a Metroidvania, where each ability, each upgrade, each weapon in this case, each piece of armor, will allow you to traverse deeper through the map, right? Whereas in Mario, you typically have your full skill set, your full powers, all of your abilities that you would normally have right from the beginning, with the exception of power-ups, right? Like, in Sonic, you may unlock the bubble power-up in the water stage, which will allow you to stay in water longer. Whereas in a Metroidvania, you may have to progress through the game, defeating a boss to unlock armor that will allow you to breathe in water, and then most of the time you can equip that stuff. Another good example from that Mickey Mouse game is that you eventually get the ability to swing on things, and through that ability to swing on things, you can access things higher than what you could before. Moral of the story, Metroidvanias equal progression. And the way that they handle said progression is different. So this game has an equipment system as well as an ability system. A lot of times, like in some of the more known Castlevanias or Bloodstain, which we're going to visit, at the end point of that game, just to show a few things about the way that game handles the Metroidvania genre. And to me, I would say Bloodstained is an ideal Metroidvania that has things that could be improved. And when I say that they can be improved, I will go over the information in which they can be improved from my opinion. I'm not stating that my view of what quality of life changes in a Metroidvania should be are perfect. Okay. The map. This is a big part. Hi, studio. Welcome to my lecture. You're 13 minutes late. I'm gonna dock 5 points off of your grade. The map. This map, as I mentioned at the beginning, is randomly generated. You can view... Does my mouse appear in the capture? It does not. It does not. Okay. You can view the flashing point where my character is. And in this square has unmarked gaps indicating doors. Whereas if you say you were traversing the map, at the bottom right would lead into the previous room that we just explored, and then further right will be the room before that. In that room, you see how the top doesn't have the hard line? That indicates to the player that I haven't investigated that top part. This is very important in Metroidvania design, to not just reveal the map, but to give indicators of what the map indicates. So some games, and I'll show you that in Bloodstained, will highlight a room once you've completed everything that you possibly can in that room. This game, I feel, is very clever with it by just not completing the square of the room if you haven't explored the whole room. Now, it doesn't tell you if you found everything in that room. It just shows that, oh, once I get an ability to traverse upward in that room, or right from here and down to reveal that, that will clear that path, and then I'll know that that path exists. That's not ideal. That's not a perfect way of going about the map, but it is a clever way of doing it. Alright, so let's try going right, and we'll see if we can't fall down to complete that map. And I am just playing kind of poorly here. I do have it on the hardest difficulty. Treasure. Remember, progression is what pushes a Metroidvania over a side-scrolling platformer, a combat platformer, or a one-screen. Leather belt. Okay, so I unlocked leather belt. That's clearly an equipment. What can it do? Special belt worn by miners for extra back support. Raises each stat by 1. Perfect. Great. That's exactly what I need. I haven't picked up anything else. So, as the player, that gives me not only progression satisfaction, like, oh, I feel great. I got an upgrade. Now I can probably take one more hit or part of a hit from a stronger enemy, right? And that's what it is. Like that's the point. You get upgrades to make it easier to progress where you're going. Skill is important in many of these, such as Hollow Knight. Like, many of you have tried Hollow Knight and played Hollow Knight. Just leveled up again. And Hollow Knight is a hard, very challenging game, but you have upgrades to make your path easier. A skilled player will be able to get through those sections in ways that weaker players can't. But it does give, the upgrade system gives the weaker players an opportunity to accomplish what higher skilled players can do. We unlock the new path, which goes to what we were discussing. Okay. So, right here, this room's flashing red, and I can set a marker or clear marker. Why is this room flashing red and orange? I can see on the far right, there's another room flashing red and orange. So, does that mean that this connects there? It does. I can blow this up. And now look at that. We're back at the beginning of the game. Orange door, orange room, connects to orange room. That sounds really dumb, but looking at the map, it makes a lot of sense and a lot of clarity to your player that these two rooms are connected and I can use them to fast travel. So now that I'm on the far right here, I can see on the map that if I exit out the left, go down, and go right, I will have access to an area I haven't explored yet. There's some significance to this, and we will find whatever that is later. Is there anything in the top right? There is not. So we weren't able to enter through that way. So let's go further left. I'm gonna take the top left path, breaking the lanterns as I go, which don't give experience points, as we've noticed, but it can give money. what does the money do? I don't know, but it's going to apply progression for the game. Here's a challenging enemy. So his pecs vibrate and his arm lifts up. His left arm lifts up like that before he does a 3-round attack. His right arm swings upward before it does a ground slam. Oh, and I was in the way. These are called tells. These are how the player knows how to avoid the attacks. Dark Souls are really popular for the way that they handle tells. As Little Thief in the chat will attest, it's very important to pay attention to the enemies and move out of the way for their attacks. In a Metroidvania, if you're doing a combat style, having tells for your harder enemies is very important. That was an incredibly easy one. That's clearly to teach the player, oh, this is how an enemy with higher hit points will be able to attack. So when you get to a boss, a real boss, you'll know that, like, they'll probably have 5 moves rather than 2. That guy only had 2 moves. Super easy to avoid, even though I jumped into one. Typically, for a boss fight in this style Metroidvania, or, you know, Rondo, or, not Rondo, Circle, or any of those, like, the bosses tend to be more marathons and HP sponges, and damage checks more than a challenging fight. Now, there's a difference between unfair combat and challenging combat. Essentially, that is stating, like, this enemy has a wind-up that I can learn how to dodge, or this enemy has an occasional undodgeable full-screen attack that nobody can avoid, and when you're balancing for combat... Okay, this is another really good example. I don't have any equipment that I can equip to create light. I don't have any items to create light. I don't have any artifacts. So that means I could probably go this way if I knew where I was going, or if I had the ability to identify, but I don't have the light, which means I need to go to a different place of the map and discover where it is that a source of light can be found to give me progression through. Now, like, I'm harping on progression. Unfortunately, that is the nature of the beast, right? Sadly, that is how this genre works. So, you remember when, at the beginning, when I pointed out, oh, there's probably something that will stand on the plate to weigh it down or move through, or an ability to move the switch. This is exactly what I was talking about, where after we unlocked the man, he walked through, pulled the lever, which will now keep this barricade up. So, this could be manifested in the game in many different ways. It could be the Metroid style, where you have to have rockets to blow up the rocket wall, or lasers to break the laser barricade. It could be you need the blue key card to open up the blue door, Doom style, right? The flavor doesn't matter, the progression matters. How can you power up and empower your player? How can you create obstacles to overcome, not necessarily puzzles, because there's a difference between obstacles and puzzles. And these are like the main things I feel need examined in this genre of game. One of the things that I would love to see in future Metroidvanias is more map clarity. Oh, okay, so here we go. Got a club. Can't equip that on the offhand. Club is main hand only. Now this has changed my character. Now I have a longer swing with an upward arch compared to this sword, which is a frontal attack, which is faster. Do I have the wider swing with a higher damage with a 17 point damage buff and take this, or do I continue to use the dagger? Because the dagger's still viable. Like, it's still potentially a good weapon. The difference in this one is more playstyle. Do you want faster, smaller hits, or larger, slower hits? I personally tend to go with larger, slower hits. I just got this power-up, which looks like a timed power-up based off of the ticking down of the bar at the top. So, I'm assuming, I'm making an educated assumption of this genre and this game that the hammer, or not the hammer, that the armor that I'm gaining from this is going to protect me either from a specific damage source or a type of damage. Like, or all damage. And then I have until that wears out. What benefit does that have? No idea. Does it make me immune to purple damage? Maybe. The placement of that platform is really smart. They knew in the design a player will try to edge over and make this jump. And they probably won't have the traversal upgrade needed to get it. So what you see that I'm doing here is essentially trying to provoke what's called a coyote frame, which is where your character's hitbox will still be on the visible platform, but you see how his right leg is hanging off? A lot of games you can push this further to try and get more angles. Now, holding left the entire time allows you to fall on this platform rather than in the hazard, which is very generous from the designers. So that means in playtesting, enough people fell into that situation and they didn't want the player to be punished at that point, that they knew to put that platform there. Their level designer had the foresight to be like, wait, everybody who comes into this room is going to fall here. So if we just put the platform on the left, they'll fall onto the platform rather than taking unfair damage. Because nothing is more infuriating in a game of this genre than unfair damage. If I can't prevent the damage or avoid the damage, then that's not cool. In that particular situation, players are dumb. I'm dumb. I know that there was a hazard at the bottom, and yet I tried for that jump. But, because they want to be fair in the design, they placed it there. Okay. Now, this is considered a low mobility Metroidvania. Right? So, as you can see, I'm just jumping. I don't have any dashes. I don't have any flying. Nothing like that. Let's switch real quick to another game in the genre. Where is it? One moment, please. Okay. This game is also one of my favorites in the genre. Shantae. And they do things very differently. Okay, start. Main game. We're gonna go blue. Alright, so I've completed 98% of this game in less than 10 hours for this playthrough. Okay. What I want to show is you have the inventory, just like we were talking about before, which gives you healing, summons wrench to give you a lift, all these things, right? Here are all the dances, which are your power-ups, things like that. Relics, which are your permanent boosts. And then the leveling system raises your magic and your hearts, right? Your verbs in this are jump, hair, magic, and dance. So you can see, you press the button, it'll cycle through the dances. You choose it, warp to next area. Okay, so it warped me back to the fountain. I believe this was the fountain. This game also has currency, so you can buy upgrades and the like. I don't remember how to open the map in this game. It's been a little while since I played this one. Not those. Oh yeah, and then she has the backslide. I got the bubble, the invincible shield. Oh, maybe because I'm at the point in the game that I can't go back. This might be a bad example. Yeah, this one's a bad example. Hold on. Let's do 7 sirens. Alright, this one's booting up. Studio, I hope this is helping. I still have a few more points to make. I didn't install Bloodstained. I thought I had it installed, but it wasn't there. Okay. So, same as before. Your progression is hair. You got the dances. Only they work differently in this one. Your abilities. Map. Okay, so this is the Flying Fortress map. This particular franchise has a different style of doing the maps where how do I don't remember how to view the other maps. I think I need to be on the main map area. So let's go around. We'll run through for a little bit. And I'm just gonna blast through as quick as I can, just so that way I can show you the other map. I don't remember how to go down. I don't remember. Sorry, everyone. It's been a long time since I played. I don't remember how to pass through. There was a quick option. Bad example again. These are bad examples because it's been like 3 years since I played them. Shovel Knight Dig's a bad example. Ukulele's a bad example. I don't have time to get to a point in that one. Guess we're gonna do Castlevania Advance. I know that a game in this is guilty of it. There's a specific... I know for a fact for this one because I played it recently. Okay. Harmony of Dissonance. The example that I'm trying to find is definitely in this game. Select data. Let's just play this one. Okay. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. So this one has a forward dash and a back dash on your bumpers. Really nice for maneuverability. It's got a pretty good jump. It gives you the after image so you can see visually what you are doing. Up and attack does your magic ability. Kind of like in Shantae where it was its own item. Or its own button press. This game chose to do that. Here's the progress on the map that I'm at. It gives me 15%. Red are save rooms. But it's hard to identify what I need to do and where I need to go. So I need to go right, down right, and then up right. So let's keep that in mind. Right, down right, up right. Alright, right, down right. I'm getting to the example of what I'm trying to express. So bear with me. I'm getting my butt handed to me by skeletons. Ooh, picked up rubber armor. Let's see what rubber armor does. Armor made rubber like. It's 2 more defense. That's it. So no downside. Let's equip it. Oh, here we go. Okay. This is the right direction. Supposedly. Hearts in this game are currency for your abilities. So you have abilities and you have magic. Okay, that room's locked. I didn't know that was locked. Let's check the map. So we can't go up from the previous room. So let's go left, down, right, down. You have a work meeting? That's fine. I'm going to be ending off here in about 10 minutes. I just wanted to give this example of what, if you're working on this style game, of what I would like to see. Okay, so I checked the map. This was another dead end, right? Like Castlevania style, is there anything in the wall? No. So we gotta go up, back up. Oh, I didn't mean to hit that button. We gotta go back up. Good thing we got this dash, because, you know, getting impatient, gotta go through. Alright, so we know we had to go down. Did we need to go down and right? Right, down, down, right. We gotta pick up the dagger again, because we accidentally dropped it. We have the red key to go through that door. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but there's no way to apply notes to the map. There's no markers, there's no indicators, there's just... You run around and... Here, this is an amazing example. Entered the room, there's a boss fight. I knew that I had to go left down, right. But then I walked into a trap room, or a boss room, right? How many times did you guys see me check my map just to get to that room? It's been almost 10 times, right? Just so that way I can navigate. The solution to this would be to have the map on the screen. But you can see, because this was a Game Boy Advance game and they probably didn't want to use the screen real estate, or because it's tradition in a Metroidvania to force the player to check the map constantly. Now I have to check the map again to make sure that I'm going the right way. I don't know if this is actually the right way, because this game doesn't spoon feed you progression. Right? Like, you're just slapped on the butt, told to go explore. So, here's the takeaways. Gate progression in bite-sized ways to allow the player to feel accomplished. That can be from getting equipment, to powering up to defeat harder enemies, to solving puzzles. Give them clarity of movement and the map. If you know where you need to go and you don't need to hinder progression by opening a map every 30 seconds to a minute, I would say if you have to open the map within moving 5 rooms, then you need to reevaluate either your map or your progression. Have challenging enemies that aren't unfair. Give clear tells. Give... If it's a marathon-style enemy, be sure to communicate with the player through the actions and the amount of damage dealt. You could do power-ups, you can do unlocks, you can do magic spells. All of those, like, the theming doesn't matter. What matters is movement and clarity. I can ramble on about this so much more for breaking down a Metroidvania or other games, but I am actually out of time right now. I need to get ready for some things. I'm going to upload this onto the archive channel, and I hope that this helps you in your team studio. Um, Thank you so much. I will start Prince of Persia fairly soon. Um, I'm gonna complete Veritas and then play the platformer Prince of Persia, which does things that I want to praise, but I'm not far enough in that game to go over those things. Um, but thank you so much for checking out the stream, for listening to my ramblings, and I'll catch you guys next time.